Hi again, Paul. Glad to be back again, this time for day 3 of the festival. The festival's really warming up now, and today we've got some real good races once again. Looking forward to the Turners Novices Chase. Obviously it's a real good renewal. We've got several real quality horses in that race this year, I feel. The Ryanair Chase is another race I'm really looking forward to. Obviously Shishkin's in there, one of my favourites, and we've got a competitive Stayers Hurdle again this year. 2 or 3 real good horses in there that have got great solid chances, and a race I've also been looking forward to over the past few months is the Mares Novices Hurdle, and obviously we'll come to that a little bit later on. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the racing here, and it's going to be a good day, I'm sure. So yeah, I'll give you my selections as we go on. So we're going to start off with the Turners Novices Chase, a grade 1 over 2.5 miles. And I'm going to start off here with my fancy for the race, the Gordon Elliott trained Mighty Potter. Mighty Potter was a fair horse over hurdles last year. He didn't do much wrong other than his disappointment at the Cheltenham Festival. Clearly something was amiss that day. However, he did go on to the Punchestown Festival just a couple of months later, and he beat Sir Gerard from the Willie Mullins Yard, and obviously that's top form. And since then he's gone chasing, and chasing was always going to be this horse's game. He started off his chase campaign at Down Royal. I would say he was workmanlike, to say the least, at Down Royal, but since then he seems to have gone forward another level. He then went to the Drinmore Novice Chase at Fairyhouse, and he had horses behind him that day, such as Banbridge, Gaillard de Menil, and the Adamantly Chosen, who was also going to be lining up here. He travelled well that day and quickened away nicely. He pecked on landing a couple of times, but it didn't discourage him, and he ran out a really nice winner that day. Since then he turned up at the Dublin Racing Festival, and he took on the similar horses to which he did at the Drinmore. Gaillard de Menil, Adamantly Chosen, Kilcrut and James de Burley were in there too. And I think that was the sign of Mighty Potter, that he might just be a little bit special. He made the odd mistake, but nothing drastic. He travelled well throughout the race, and just off the home bend he went to the front, and then when he was asked to go about his business, he quickened away nicely. I feel that Mighty Potter's a horse just coming to himself now, and I think we haven't seen what's truly under the bonnet yet. The word I'm hearing is from connections is there's plenty more to come from this horse. I feel he's going to get better with racing, and obviously the experience is doing him the world of good. And I feel like not just now but going forward to next season, he could be a horse that really does reach the top heights, whether it's the Ryanair or the Gold Cup. He's one certainly to keep an eye on. With regards to this Turners Novices Chase, I do think the softer surface is beneficial to this horse. He's quite a heavy topped horse, and I just feel that cut in the ground will help him out. It's not going to be an easy race to win, because obviously horses like Appreciate It and Banbridge, and you've got a couple of horses over from England in Stage Star and Balco Coastal. They're useful horses in their own right, and it's on paper it's a pretty hot race, but Mighty Potter would be my selection for the race, without any shadow of doubt. Of the others, I did think Appreciate It was tapped for toe a little bit in the Irish Arkle at the Dublin Racing Festival, and I feel the step up in trip will certainly help him too. He is at kind of the wrong age now for a novice chaser, but you have to maybe excuse that a little bit. He's not been over raced, and I do feel, as I said, the step up in trip will help him, and he might be Mighty Potter's main danger. Balco Coastal ran behind Jerry Colomb last time at Sandown in the Scilly Isles, and I do feel like 2.5 miles is that horse's trip, and he might be a horse that's improving also. So it's, as I said before, it looks a nice strong race, but Mighty Potter would certainly be the one I'd be siding with here. And you know, I'm looking forward to what this horse can do, not just in this race but going forward. So yeah, that's my selection, Mighty Potter. So then on to the Ryanair Chase, a grade 1 over 2.5 miles. Unsurprisingly to some, my selection is the Nicky Henderson trained Shishkin. Shishkin's a horse I've held in high regard since the beginning of his career. He won the Supreme Novices Hurdle several years ago, and then backed up a year later in the Arkle Chase. Last season was a bit of a stop-start season for Shishkin. He missed his engagement early on in the season. He did turn up at Kempton, and then obviously went on then to face an Ergomen in the Clarence House Chase, in a race that was billed as the clash of the season. Shishkin come out on top that day, but for what penalty? A penalty that he seemed to pay a severe price for, in my opinion. It was a gruelling race, and I think that showed them when he went to Cheltenham. He wasn't the same horse. He lined up, but he was never going from the start. There clearly was an issue, and since then it's been well documented that the horse has had physical problems. Obviously, the trainer, Nicky Henderson, he's done tremendous to get the horse back. He made his return to Ascot over 2.5 miles just about a month ago now, and he won in very taken fashion. To be fair, he looks back to his absolute best. I feel the combination in trip and the horse's well-being was the reasoning behind him putting in that kind of performance again. But there is always a question mark in the back of my mind. Will he go wrong again? But until he runs, you just do not know. On ability alone, Shishkin's the best horse in the race. He had the highest rated form both over hurdles and chases, and I don't feel it's a question of whether he's good enough to win the race. I feel it's a question of his well-being on the day. If Shishkin is spot on and puts in a performance like he did at Ascot, I'm fairly confident he'll win again. With regards to ground, I think Shishkin's a better horse on better ground, but I don't think he'll mind a little bit of dig. He just don't want extremes of ground. Of the others, they've got a little bit to find. Fury Road might be one that I'd look at for an each way kind of price. There's a couple of horses in the race that have been disappointing this season. The likes of Chacun Pour Soi, he looks like he's at the tail end of his career now. Envoy Allen's had a stop-start season, a little bit like last year really, he's struggled. And Blue Lord's a horse that looked good over 2 miles a couple of races ago, but very disappointing last time. So, as I said before, Shishkin is my selection, confident selection in this year's Ryanair Chase. So, on to the Paddy Power Stayers Hurdle. My selection in this race, first and foremost, is the Gordon Elliott trained Tierpo. Tierpo's a horse that was campaigned over 2 miles last season, ended up running in the Champion Hurdle. On that occasion, come up short, trip obviously a little bit short, and the horse probably found the ground a little bit too quick on that occasion. However, since stepping up in trip this year, the horse has looked a lot more comfortable, and obviously now Cheltenham has been hit with this rain softened ground. I feel it's only enhanced the horse's chances. He lined up last time, he stepped up in trip last time for the first time, where he took on obviously the 4-time Cheltenham Festival winner Honeysuckle and Classical Dream, and I feel on that occasion he proved that the trip would be no issue. He really did see the trip out well, and obviously that's now something that you can put to the back of your mind if you had any worries about it beforehand. So Tiepo is my favourite for the race, and I feel he's the one to beat. Obviously, in the race, you've got several others that you could make cases for. Horses such as Blazing Cow from the Charles Burns stable. He's looked very good, done nothing wrong to date. You've got the two-time reigning champion, Florian Porter. Florian Porter's obviously got the best form in the race. However, he's not had the best of seasons, and he doesn't appear to be in the same kind of form he was this time last year. However, he does tend to be a spring horse, so it might not be any surprise to some that he hasn't shown his best form yet. But just to my eye and in my own opinion, I just feel he's not quite shown the same signs that he was in the past couple of seasons. But obviously you couldn't write him off, because they obviously gear him up towards this race, and this is the one day in the year where they do want him at his best for. So I wouldn't rule him out, but at the same time, I don't really fancy him this time round. Another horse in the race that's got getting on a little bit now in age, but is capable of running a big race still, but obviously will need a strong gallop. I do feel the soft ground might be beneficial to him, and that horse is Paisley Park for Emma Lavelle. He's obviously won the race in the past, and he's run some real good races over the last couple of years. But maybe might just find one or two too good at this stage of his career. But yeah, all in all, my actual selection for this race is Tiepo from Gordon Elliott. So then, now on to the Jack de Bromhead Mares Novices Hurdle. This is a Grade 2 event over 2 miles. I have a confident selection in this year's renewal in the name of Lucia, trained by Nicky Henderson and ridden by Nico de Boinville. This horse first caught my eye around about this time last year in a Sandown bumper. It was run on testing ground, and she put a lot of distance between her and her rivals. From that moment, she went straight into my notebook for this year. She kicked off her hurdling campaign in a listed novice hurdle at Newbury. She jumped well that day in the main, and she put nice bit of distance between herself and the opposition. And she looked certainly like one that could take high rank. There was talk early December that she was going to go to the Tolworth Hurdle at Sandown and take on the boys. However, plans were put to one side after she scoped dirty leading up to the race. Obviously, she had to have a couple of weeks off just to build everything back up again, her health. But that seems to be okay now. She then went to Exeter for a listed novice hurdle, and she travelled very powerfully throughout the race, and she quickened away very smartly. To me, she looks like a horse that the world's at her feet. Obviously, there was talk again leading up to Cheltenham that she could be one for the Supreme Novices rather than the Mares Novice Hurdle, but Connections have decided to go for the Mares Novice Hurdle route, which I believe is purely down to her inexperience. I feel if they'd got one more run into her, probably she would have went for the Supreme and she would have got the Mares allowance. But all in all, I think Connections have made the right decision, and she's going to line up, obviously, in this Mares Novice Hurdle. I do feel she's going to take a lot of beating in the race. She does have to give £5 away to some of her rivals, obviously carrying a penalty. But this hasn't stopped some of the top mares in the past. The likes of Limini and Lorena, they both give £5 penalties away and still went on to win this race. So where the £5 penalty might put some off, if she's as good as Connections are hoping she is, I don't think it'll be a problem. She really is regarded highly at Seven Barrows, and I feel like next season they could be aiming high with her, possibly a tilt at either the Mares Hurdle or the Champion Hurdle. But yeah, as I said, Lucia is a horse I really hold in high regard. No race is easy to win at the festival, but I certainly feel this mare is capable of doing so. So my selection for the Mares Novice Hurdle is Lucia. So then, they're my thoughts for the races for day 3. Now I'm going to give you my winning each way selections. Pretty tricky here for my win selection because I really do like both Mighty Potter and Lucia, but I'm only going to go with one, and I'm going to go with Lucia. She's my win selection for day 3. I hold her in massive regard, and I really do feel she could be a horse to keep on the right side of. So she is my win selection. My each way selection, not the biggest price, but still probably just scrapes in for an each way selection. That would be Tierpo in the Stayers Hurdle. I think maybe if you shop around, you'll be able to get like around 5 to 1. So yeah, those are my 2 selections. Lucia, my win, and Tierpo, my each way. So thanks very much for having me on again, and I look forward to joining you once again for the final day of the festival. Look forward to it. Speak soon. Thank you.